This year I've been house sitting across 8 different counties plus London in England, and it made me think about all the places that I've lived in southern England. So today I'm rating all 7 locations that I've called home last 20 some years of me living here. And I'm going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 in the categories that matter to me. So the categories are pubs, ease of meeting people, travel, ease and opportunity in the area, attractiveness of the region, and culture. And then I'll tell you would I move back. Hell yes, tentative yes, or no thank you. If you have lived in any of these places or if you're familiar with them, I would love to know in the comments if you agree with me or if you think I'm completely wrong. I'm going to do these in no particular order, but I'm going to start off with Winchester, and that's down in Hampshire for anyone who's not familiar. That is a lovely city. It's very old. In fact, it used to be the capital back in the day, like way back in the day. It has everything you need. It's a great sized city, not too huge. Overall, I'd say it's quite friendly. The countryside around it is really stunning. It's not cheap, but it's worth it, in my opinion. Let's do the ratings. I'm going to give pubs a 4. There probably isn't as many pubs as there used to be, but the ones I know are still around I think are great. Meeting people, I give a 3. As I recall, there wasn't a lot of activities to meet new people. It is also probably what you put into it. In terms of travel-ese, it gets a 3 out of 5 for me. In terms of attractiveness of the town and the area, definite 4. Would I live there again? Hell yes. Oh, and by the way, at the end, I'm going to show you the totals and we'll look at them side by side. Next, we have Guildford, and that was another lovely place. If you drive through Guildford, it's really hideous to look at on that path, that road goes through town. But if you park up and get up to the pedestrianized high street, it's like a completely different world. The high street's pedestrianized, and there's a lot of really attractive old buildings there, and just the surrounding areas. The neighborhoods are really nice, and you also have some nice views. Also fantastic walks there. Also, walking along the river is super nice, and there's great pubs there. So I'm gonna give pubs a 4. In terms of meeting people, I give it a 4. I did actually belong to a meetup group, and so that's how I met a lot of people. In terms of travel-ese, I'm going to give it a 4. It's got a very strong infrastructure, and there's fast trains to London. I would say my only complaint, though, is that sometimes those trains end up being shorter carriages than normal, so you can't get a seat. And there's also a second train station, which makes it a little bit easier sometimes. Attractiveness of the town and area, I'd give it a 4. Solid 4. In terms of culture and things to do, it's a 4, especially if you like going to theater. There's a theater right there in town. Would I live there again? I gave this a tentative yes. Cambridge, the very first place I lived in when I moved here, and I was there for about 7 years. I lived in 5 different places. 2 were in Chesterton, and then the others were just off of Mill Road. So my overall assessment of Cambridge is that it's very beautiful, very historic, but it's also very touristy, and it's compact, and it's quite expensive. And I was there quite recently and confirmed my feelings. I think living in Cambridge is the main reason I didn't move to Bath when I had the opportunity. For pubs, I'm going to give it a 4. I love the Free Press, the Kingston Arms, the Cambridge Blue. These were my haunts back in the day. They're probably different now, but many, many happy times. Pub quizzing and spending time with friends. Meeting people, I'm going to give it a 3. It's a little bit of a transient place. I actually met most of my friends through work. Travel-ese, I've given it a 3. It's not the most connected city. It's not terrible. Attractiveness and the town area. So the city is a 5. It's stunning, but I'm not a fan of the fenland and the flat, so that lowers it for me. So I give it a 3. In terms of culture and things to do, I gave it a 3. It might be better now, but I'm going to base these scores based on what I remember. Would I live there again? No, probably not. Next on the list is Romsey, also in Hampshire. It's a small market town. It's pretty quiet. I know that when I lived there, it would be a good option because my partner at the time was commuting into Portsmouth, but honestly, it was too quiet for us, and we were in our mid-30s. I did love being near the New Forest. I think we spent a lot of the time just driving out of town, going to Southampton, or sometimes Portsmouth as well. In terms of ratings, I'm going to give pubs a 3, meeting people a 2. It was a little stuck up. I don't know if it was just, I don't know. Travel-ese is a 2. There's a station there and there's buses, but not as connected as some of these other places, and it's due to its size, so it's not its fault, clearly. Attractiveness of the town and the area, I give a 4. It's very beautiful around there. It's in the Test Valley. Would I live there again? No thanks. Because it's close enough to Winchester, I'd rather just live in Winchester. Next is Alresford, and that's also in Hampshire, and I love Alresford, I will say that. It's got the prettiest high street. It's surrounded by hills, vineyards. There's also the Watercress line, which is a steam train. Really cool if you like that sort of thing, which I do. Another fun fact is that Alresford served as a training base for the U.S. Army's 47th Infantry, checking my notes, regiment from 1943 until D-Day. And they were based right there in Broad Street. And the soldiers were stationed in and around the town and in surrounding villages, living with other people, local residents. In terms of pubs, I'm going to give Alresford a 4. There's some really beautiful pubs there. In terms of meeting people, I'm going to give that a 2, a little bit lower than the others. Part of the problem is I was there during COVID times, so there wasn't a lot going on. The town makes up for it in other categories. Travelese is not one of those categories. I also give that a 2. There is a bus that connects Alton and Winchester, and it goes right through Alresford. But apart from that, there's no other transport that I'm aware of. There's the steam train, but that's not really a reliable way to get around. Plus, it only has 4 stops. Attractiveness of the town and area, I gave it a 5. I loved it. And in terms of culture and things to do, it is a fairly small town, so I give it a 3. But I do know that they have festivals and there's a market. There's a vegetable market every week. And you can also get out to places like the Flower Pots Brewery, which is at the edge of town. Very, very cool. And would I live there again? Tentatively, yes. I think having a car would make it a lot more viable. I really enjoyed living there. Actually, I have to give a shout out. There's some really incredible food options in Alresford as well, and bakeries and cafes. So yeah, very nice. Next is London. And this one surprised me because, like I said, I never wanted to live there. When I did live there, I struggled with a lot of the commuting and just being around lots of noise. In London, I lived in Kilburn Park, which is a little bit near Paddington, Maida Vale. I also lived in a town near Sutton, down in the south. I've also rented in Earlsfield for about 3 months, but that still counts. I lived there. Since then, I also did a house sit sort of between Shepherd's Bush and Chiswick, and that was quite peaceful. Also, the key difference is I didn't have to commute then. I wasn't heading into central London. So for the pubs, I give it a 4. There's so many great pubs. In terms of meeting people, there's lots of things going on, lots of meetups, easy to meet people. I'm going to give that a 4 also. It's just a little bit transient, so it can be difficult to actually make friends. Same when I lived in New York. New York and London, sometimes you have people who are just very focused on their career. So it's also probably not great for dating. In terms of travelese, it's a 5. It's very well connected. In terms of the attractiveness of the place, I'm going to give it a 3. There's so many beautiful parts of London, but there's so much of it. For me personally, I like easier access to open countryside, and so you don't really get that in London. So yeah, it comes out as a 3 for me, which might be a bit harsh really, but I'm going to stick with it. In terms of culture and things to do, 5. You're never going to run out of things to do in London. And this was a surprising thing, is would I live there again? Tentatively, yes, I would. I think I would just need to choose the right neighborhood. Bristol. And I love Bristol. I lived there 3 different times. The first one was in the 2000s, and I came back in the 2010s, and then I came back in the 2020s. So I might have to go back again at some point. It's a vibrant city. There's always something new going on. There's a really fantastic craft beer scene, which I particularly enjoy, although my body doesn't enjoy that so much anymore. I lived off of Gloucester Road for the first 2 times. Then this last time I rented a flat in a development right opposite Castle Park. So that was really different and unfortunately too noisy for me. I think Bristol is really special. There's a really vibrant food scene, and I think it is expensive, but it's probably worth it. So in terms of my ratings, so pubs, I'm going to give a 10. A 5. 5 is the highest. Meeting people, I give it a 4. There's meetups there, and people seem pretty friendly generally. For travelese, I'm going to give it a 4. There's trains, there's buses, there's coaches. There's even a dedicated coach that goes to Bristol Airport, so it's got its own airport. The attractiveness of the town and the area, I'm going to give a 5. I really like the town itself. particularly places like Clifton. It's really beautiful. And then the surrounding areas are fantastic also. And you have Bath just down the road. I mean, it's like a 10-minute train ride, so that's pretty handy. In terms of culture and things to do, I give that also a 5. And would I live there again? That's a hell yes. In terms of totals, Bristol came out on top with a 23, and that was a hell yes. London got a 21, tentative yes. Guildford is third, also a tentative yes. Winchester, a hell yes, but it only came out at 18, so that's interesting. Cambridge is a no, 16, and it's actually tied with Alresford, which was a tentative yes. And then Romsey, 14. I guess it just goes to show that you can be very methodical and logical about some of these things, but it just comes back to a feeling. If you wanted to play along at home and you wanted to rate the places that you've lived in on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, see if you are surprised at the totals and whether that total matches whether it's a hell yes for you or a no or a tentative yes. The next video I think you should watch is going to be one where I talk about shopping. I'm going to take you grocery shopping and we'll talk about how it compares to shopping in the United States. I think the sizings is going to be the most interesting thing. So that video is not even filmed yet, but when it's done, I'll link it here. And in the meantime, I'll just pop another video up there. Either way, I will see you there.